So today's video will be about what is energy healing. Now the reason I'm covering this concept is because it's actually a large part of what I do for my career and what I personally do with clients. The reason I incorporate this into my practice is because I actually experienced the benefits of energy healing personally. You see, in my early 20s, a lot of health issues started erupting for me, and I just kept getting infections, autoimmune disorders, and the conventional medical community really had no answers for me. I was really left with no other choice to turn to alternative healing, which for most of my life I completely rejected as nonsense. I finally found my way to what was a Reiki practitioner, and I was very skeptical at first. But ultimately, after the session I had with her, I had a very different experience than what people may think of energy healing. Some people perceive energy healing as if it does work, you're just going to feel very calm and relaxed. But for me, I became extremely emotional. It's like all these repressed feelings, emotions, and experiences that I had held down, the energy healing had finally brought them up. And I had to feel them. I had to really lean into them, experience them, release it. And afterwards, my medical issues started to dissolve. I slowly began to embrace the practice of energy healing more. And after resolving a lot of medical issues in my life, I decided it was important to bring this practice and awareness to others, which is why today we are covering what is energy healing. So what is the basis of energy healing? Well, it's founded on the fact that humans in themselves are energetic beings. We know that we create measurable heat, we generate electricity, and you can measure the light that we emit even in a darkened room. Quantum mechanics or quantum physics has done a really great job within the past 100 years of kind of giving us some scientific basis for us as energetic beings. Basically, quantum physics says that we are energetic beings that essentially just occupy a physical material body in a physical space. The whole concept of us having an energy body around us that we necessarily can't perceive with our physical senses isn't new. For thousands of years, cultures have been referencing or referring to the human aura. Right? Even Pythagoras talked about it in his studies about seeing this luminous body that kind of went around the human body. Everyone has experienced the energetic body from someone. Okay? Whenever you walk into a room and you meet someone and you get quote unquote bad vibes from them, you are picking up their energy. Anytime you walk into a room and you feel it's tense or angry, you are picking up the collective energy in that room. Our feelings, emotions, thoughts, there's energy to all of it, right? And so that will hang around a person. You may not be able to perceive it with your physical senses, but it's there. So I believe it's important to understand what is the structure of this energy field that is around our physical bodies. Well, a lot of people consider the concept woo-woo, and I understand why. I once did as well. But there is growing scientific evidence for this, all right? So in the studies of Dr. Moriyama and Dr. Valerie Hunt, if you combine what they did in their research, you start to get a semblance of an idea of what the structure of our energy field is. So in Dr. Moriyama's studies, he was able to see that humans did emit energy that could be quantified by hertz per cycle, or Hz, how quickly the energy vibrated. All right. Now the really interesting study was that Dr. Moriyama was able to measure that certain specific thought categories would emit energy or heat off a specific point in the body. So when he told someone to think about love, you would notice that they would start emitting heat from their heart. If he started telling people to think about danger, they would start emitting heat from the base of their spine. So through Dr. Moriyama's work, we were able to see that certain thought categories actually would emit heat along different portions of the human body. Dr. Valerie Hunt was able to see that there's a human energy spectrum that ran through different hertz cycles, okay? So at the root, at the base of our spine, it was a denser energy. It vibrated much slower. When we went all the way up to the crown, where it got up to 2,000 hertz per cycle, right? It vibrated very fast. So now we have some scientific structure for what the energy field is. And this is what it looked like. In terms of Dr. Moriyama's work, we saw that at the crown, it was more about universal wisdom and connection to something much larger than ourselves. The area between our forehead, that's kind of termed the third eye, right? That's our intuition, that's our inner wisdom, right? That's concepts beyond linearity. Our throat, willful expression, right? Our ability to express our needs, our wants, our feelings, our emotions, our heart space, well, that was tied to love. Self-love, compassion, grief and sorrow as well. Our solar plexus, which is our upper abdominal area, that was tied to where we create our personal identity, a healthy ego, essentially. Our sacral is tied to trust, intimacy, creativity as well. And then our root at the base of our spine was tied to survival, security, fight or flight. What's really interesting is that these specific energy points along the body that would emit and measure heat, right, when thinking about certain thoughts, they are also related to the specific glands of our endocrine system. So for me, I was actually diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in my early 20s, and it was a weird diagnosis, all right? But when I had worked with an energy healer, she had even said in my solar plexus, she felt literally no energy coming out of there. Well, my pancreas stopped working. There was an energetic deficiency in that area, and it showed it's affecting the endocrine system. I work with a lot of people who come in with thyroid issues, all right? And thyroid issues tend to be our ability to express. A lot of people that have thyroid issues that come to me were in some type of trauma or abuse where they could not speak up for themselves. This is the big theme of energy healing. Our conventional medical community is great for many things, but our human body is not a machine. Everything is interrelated. Our emotional, mental, and physical states are all interdependent on one another, right? And so this is why we have to think outside the box when people start getting chronic health issues and there's really no solution or ability to figure out the root cause. So how do we keep up the health of this energy field? Energy needs to flow, all right? So anytime we have a thought, emotion, or feeling, we need to experience it. We need to allow it to flow through ourselves. Energy never dies, but energy can become stuck. And when energy becomes stuck, it can start vibrating more slowly to the point where it turns into physical matter where physical matter is not supposed to be. I started experiencing a lot of kidney stones. I started experiencing gallbladder stones, right? The energy was not moving through my body. When I went into energy healing, it finally released and allowed to move through. So everything that comes through, you can't just stay stuck. You can't tense and contract. The energy and our experience and our feelings need to flow throughout the core of our being. Also, it's very important to understand, to keep a healthy energy field, we need to receive as much energy as we output, okay? And this is very difficult for us in our Western society. We keep going and going and doing. We're able to give love, right? We're able to support other people, but are we able, or do we allow ourselves to receive that same support, to receive that same love, right? We talk, we voice our opinion. Do we allow ourselves to receive other people's opinion? Do we listen intently, right? This is how we create energetic balance, by making sure there's a harmonizing flow, that we are receiving the same amount of energy from our environment as we are putting out into it as well. So where does energy healing come in then? Sometimes we just get stuck. Sometimes there are emotions suppressed that we just necessarily can't access, right? An energy healing practitioner is basically very sensitive to energy, all right? They can feel the energy through their hands. They can locate where there's blocks, where there's resistance in your energy field, right? And know where there's stuck emotions, stuck feelings, things that need to necessarily come up, all right? An energy healer also knows how to kind of call in, this is usually done through Reiki attunements, how to call in a high vibratory energy. All right, I'm going to do a video later about what essentially Reiki is, but it's this universal consciousness. And this high vibratory energy will come into the field and break up anything that doesn't resonate at that same high frequency. So feelings of rage, anger, fear, shame, guilt, those are actually low vibratory emotions. They cycle through a low vibratory rate. When you put a high frequency energy into the body, it will break up things that don't go along with a high vibrancy energy. So low frequency emotions will come up to the surface and be released. During the session, practitioners usually tend to work from chakra or energy point to energy point, right? They're going through, they're seeing where the blocks are. They're seeing if there are blocks, being able to connect the energy points. Maybe there's a block between the throat and the heart. So you're speaking more so from your head and not actually speaking from what you're internally feeling, right? Energy healers help create this balance and flow so you're more in tune and you're more aligned with yourself. Skilled practitioners often rely on their intuitive abilities, right? To be a really effective energy healing practitioner, you have to kind of put your own forceful intent away from the session. You have to allow yourself to receive and allow yourself to let your own internal guidance system guide you through the session, right? Energy healing is not a math equation, right? You can't make a lot of sense of it right now. You're merely focusing on what you're feeling and where you feel led to go within the session. For those of you who want to practice energy healing, what I would suggest is begin to bring your hands and try and make an energy ball. Try and feel the sensations in your hands. Okay? And then, if you want to do energy healing on yourself, go to each point along the center of your spine. Okay? And then set the intention with your hand to recalibrate and rebalance the emotions there, or the energy there. All right? This is a good starting point to get you into energy healing. So that's the basics of energy healing that I covered today. Obviously, it's way more in depth than just what I went through in this video. So if you want more information, including the differences between Reiki and pranic healing, which is the forms of energy healing I use with clients, leave a comment below. Also, be sure to subscribe to my video channel and let me know if you'd like me to do any other videos on any other topics. All right, thank you.